Hello and happy Sunday. This is Kelly with IfYouHaveAnEgg.com, and today is Sunday, August the 11th. It's already back to school time. So I don't know if y'all can believe that or not, but Alyssa will be in first grade tomorrow and Bo will start a new Parents' Day out. More about that later and more about this in just a few minutes. But hello and happy Sunday, everybody. If you are new, we would love for you to let us know that you are new because we'd like to give you a shout out, and we are all very open and welcoming here unless you're a spam person. And if you're another spam person for I think a third week in a row, we're not going to be so friendly. And hello, Elaine, it's good to see you. So I hope everybody is having a great week. Karen and I had another good walk today. The weather is cooperating. It could be a little cooler, just a little cooler. John is enjoying how hot it is this week, or this last few weeks. It could be just a smidge cooler for me, but hello, Catherine. It's good to see you. Hello, Joycelyn from California. And hello, Mary Ann. Awesome to see you. Hello, Lynn. Good to see you too. So happy Sunday, everybody. Hello, Sherry. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. We always have a lot to talk about, but not kidding you. I had four different topics that I wanted to cover in the second half, and I just finally had to pick one. Hello, Sarah from Raleigh, Massachusetts, and hello, Katie. I finally just had to pick one because I was really struggling over which one of the four to talk about in the second half, and I just had to pick one. So you just know we've got 3 topics for the next 3 weeks that I'll try to get to. Let's see. Hello, Sandra from Dingman's Ferry. Hello, Vicki from Illinois. Awesome to see you. But hello, everybody. If you're watching this later on YouTube, that's just youtube.com. Search If You Have an Egg. Go ahead and say hello because we would love to welcome you and say hello to you back. If you're watching this later on YouTube, also say hello. We love to welcome people. This is like our meeting here. Hello, Sherry. So this is like our meeting here. If you don't have an in-person workshop, let this be your in-person workshop. So hello, everybody. Welcome everybody who is jumping in. We will talk about what's in this giant basket here in just a few minutes. Hello, Lisa. It's good to see you. Yeah, it's gonna be a big night. It's gonna be a big night tonight. We'll talk about that again in just a second. Today is Sunday, August the 11th. Yep, Catherine says this is my in-person workshop. Exactly. And if I could hug y'all, we would be doing it right now because I'm a big time hugger. If y'all ever stop through Knoxville, Tennessee, please look me up or please holler at me because I would love to meet you in person. People used to stop by when we were over in the west part of town where it was kind of like, you know, a destination, but here we just don't get very many visitors, but I would love to see you. Anyway, hello and welcome everybody. Again, if you're brand new, please let us know because we would love to welcome you. This is chat number 376. Today is August 11th, chat number 376, and we're going to be talking about meals that make you strong. Okay, so meals that make you strong. A little bit of news. Yep, and Sarah says this is her only workshop right now too. So I know we're happy to have you, Sarah. I'm sorry your workshop closed, but we're happy to have you here. So the first little bit of news tonight is today is the start of the Track It Challenge. So Julie, who has been hosting challenges for the last few months, she is back and raring to go. She's a teacher, so she's got a lot to do, and somehow she still manages to do this every single week. But last week was the last week was the workout challenge, the workout and walking challenge. And I would just like to say that 5 out of 7 days last week, I did close all 3 of my rings. And remember, it is a challenge for yourself. You're not challenging anyone else. So that was awesome for me. And hello, let's see. Hello, Marlene from Florida. Awesome. Okay. And let's see. So today though, hello Orlando Debbie, today is the start of the Track It Challenge. So, you know, to get back in the habit of doing our homework and doing our school work, Julie, the teacher, is encouraging us to get back into the habit of tracking. And she had a tracking record. I think her longest number of days tracking in a row was like 500. That's absolute insanity to me. I don't think I've never tracked 500 days in a row. But she's encouraging us to get back into the habit of tracking. And you know, with school, starting back in, I would say every part of the country now. I doubt there's very many parts of the country that have not started school back. You know, when your kids are doing homework, you might as well get down and start doing your tracking too. And let's see. Oh, Joycelyn said I walked 7 days, twice a day, 7 days. Awesome. That is so awesome. And Sandra tracks every day. Hello, Sylvia. Good to see you. How are you feeling? Are you on the mend? So that's a little bit of news. That's over on the If You Have an Egg Facebook group. And Julie does this every week. She posts a challenge. Last week it was a workout and walking challenge. This week it is a tracking challenge. And again, you're not in competition with anybody. So I don't think you have to beat somebody, you know, or Debbie, I wish I could. I wish I could. And we're going to talk about this in a second. But you're not in a competition with anybody. Nobody wins. Everybody wins. Like, nobody wins, but everybody wins, if that makes any sense. So when you get done here tonight, hop on over to the If You Have an Egg Facebook group. And if you're not already in our group, somebody will be sure to put the link here so that y'all can go over there and join. Just remember to answer those 3 questions. And hold on a second. Let's see. Oh no, Karen says it's been so hot. Yeah, Karen. That she has started walking around her kitchen island for 15 minutes. Perfect. I do that here at the showroom. So if y'all ever come and visit me, and if you see me just walking around the showroom not looking like I'm doing anything, it's because I needed to get some extra steps in. Okay. So the next little bit of news for tonight is I showed you all this basket. So the first garden round 1 is starting to wind down. The zucchini and the squash are starting to wind down. Like, they're looking gangly enough that if they'll just stop blooming for like 1 day, I'll go ahead and pull them up. The green beans didn't do anything. They're coming out. The corn has already come out. I've already harvested all of the watermelon radishes. The cucumbers are still going strong though, as evidenced by this. The tomatoes are on the fence. They're starting to slow down, and then they perk back up, start to slow down, and then they put out some more blooms. And then let's see, what are some other areas? Spaghetti squash. There's a spaghetti squash in here. So what I want to know though, this is from 1 day. So this was from, I didn't pick anything for 2 days. So I picked all of this last night, and thank you, Debbie, for sharing the group. So I asked you all earlier, there is no prize associated with this other than a good job, but how much do you all think? Okay, so you can hear me not struggling, but how much do you all think this weighs? That's the second bit of news, this is how much food you can make with a small garden in your backyard. It's absolute insanity, and we're having to make up things to make now. Hello, Carol Lou. So how much do you all think this weighs? Here, ow. Okay, just pinched myself. I'll lift it with one arm. How much do you all think that weighs? How much do you think this basket of veggies weighs? And again, there's no prize. It was just a fun something to guess. That's from 1 day. Yeah, Vicki, I'm to that point. I'm to the point of needing to freeze the tomatoes whole because, whoo, Debbie says 25 pounds. A little over ambitious, but you're pretty close. Ann's really very close. Ann says 12 pounds. And Sarah says she wishes she had access to that option, but she can't hear. Melissa says 8 pounds. Carol Lou says 13 pounds. Lynn says 4.5 pounds. Lynn, did you think I would that much over 4 pounds? Let's see. Karen says 12 pounds. Sherry says 20. Oh, Marion, I can never see what you say. Let me see if I can. I don't know why it does that to me. Sylvia says 15. Okay, Vicki says 20. 14.3 pounds. There is 14.3 pounds. Yeah, so Sarah's right on top of it. Vicki says 18. Catherine says 10. 14.3 pounds of fresh produce in that basket. And that doesn't include what I had already picked that's sitting over here. So it's go time on getting creative on how to preserve all of these things. Whew. And I went ahead and replanted. I recomposted and replanted a few things. So we're going to have a garden round 2. I know, Carol, you were so close. We're going to have a garden round 2 with different things. So I planted some okra. I've planted, let me think, what else have I planted? Some okra. The eggplant is not doing well that I planted. And Melissa says she would happily take some. I may bring this with me tomorrow night. I don't know. We'll see. And Sylvia says, how do you keep the squash bugs off your zucchini? With my hands. So we don't need to sidetrack too much. Hello, Hattie. But Sylvia, not kidding. With these, I keep them off with these. I fill a mason jar with soapy water, like with Blue Dawn dish detergent, and some water, and I seriously pick them off with my hands and fuss at them and then throw them in the soapy water. That's how I keep them off of my zucchini. Okay, the third bit of news, because we do have a lot to talk about. So good job everybody on guessing the weight of the produce over here. So the third bit of news is the Amazon wish list is officially up and running. It's ready. So for those of you who had wanted to help support our chats by either purchasing something off of the Amazon list or by ordering some of those things and having them shipped here to me at the showroom, or even purchasing in gift cards, whoever came up with the gift cards, that was a great idea. I'm pretty sure it works. I haven't tried it yet because I'm not buying myself a gift card, but I think the one that it let me post on the wish list is any amount. Like you could do as little as $5. So you don't need to go out and spend $500. This $5 would work, but it just helps to provide some of the supplies that we use here for the chats after the big budget cuts. So anyway, you can tell I'm still bitter about that because I don't think they're going away anytime soon. Okay, that is all of the news that I have right now. So the first thing I need to know is who sat their bottom in a chair last week. So if you sat your bottom in a chair at an in-person workshop, or if you visited a virtual workshop, give me a thumbs up. And I had my bottom in a chair last week, so I'm gonna give myself a thumbs up. Okay, thumbs ups for sitting your bottoms in chairs, and hello, Kathy. And let's see some hearts. I know, Karen. Karen says, it's driving me crazy. Your shirt is backwards to us, and I know. So doing it this way on Facebook, it is, yeah, it's backwards, but it says hello and happy Sunday. Yeah, awesome. Okay, yep, lots of thumbs ups, and I'll post the link to the Amazon list. I made it public, so you might be able to search it. I don't know. You'll have to search for that, Carol, and let us know how that works. Yep, and then hearts for everybody that was here with us live. I almost forgot that part. I got excited about talking about the shirt. Yeah, I had this made because I say hello and happy Sunday every week, so I had it made for myself. And I don't know, I kind of like the way the shirt was made too. I don't know. So hearts for everybody that was here with us last week live or watched later. Awesome. That was a lot of you all. So bravo stickers for attending your in-person workshops or attending here with us live. Last week was chat number 375, and we were talking about bridging that gap between wanting to do something and will doing something. So there are a lot of things that I want to do, but there is this thing called an intention. It is an intention action gap, and it's just the gap between your intention to do something and the action that you take to actually do it. So bridging that gap is what we talked about last week. I talked about a shopping list from the week before. My intention was to stay within budget, but I didn't bridge that gap because I wasn't properly prepared. I didn't have a shopping list with me. I had too much time for wandering around, and there were no witnesses. So this last week I was talking about the way that I was going to kind of correct that, or kind of get a grip on that to bridge that gap, was to reflect on those three things, then rearrange this next trip and make a list of the coupons that I would need for, like for a recipe, or if I needed it for something else, and that I would retry this. I would check what we already had on hand. I would pick a meal or two to focus on, and then I would show my digital coupon list to Casey. I didn't show it to her before, but I showed it to her after I got done. So I kind of bridged that gap, but I didn't buy any extra stuff. I didn't buy any things I didn't need. I changed one of the ingredients on the list. I had pine nuts on the list because I wanted to make some pesto, but I could not bring myself to pay. That is exorbitant prices for pesto. So in the reflection, one of the girls that works here, her name's Kelsey. I've talked about her a lot. She has worked at several different restaurants. I didn't know this. I was days old, or actually it was Saturday days old, when I found out that you can make pesto with walnuts. What? So we'll also be making pesto this week. Not tonight, because we've got something else to make, but we will be making pesto this week. Super excited about that. So it helped a lot. I was only about $10 over my budget instead of being many dollars over my budget. So last week, what I asked you all to do for your homework was #WillDo. And I wanted you to find something that you wanted to do and figure out how to bridge that intention action gap into a will do. So let's see how you did. Vicky had surgery. So another one, y'all need to slow down on the surgeries, but Vicky had surgery and she wants to stay on plan. So she enlisted the help of her husband and her son, and they are will do the meal prepping. So she has plenty of protein for healing, because you need protein for healing, and so she can stay on track. So she jumped that gap. So she definitely bridged that gap. And Carol Lou says, what is the name of your gift list? They sure don't make it easy to find. The name is If You Have an Egg Chat Support, I think, and I made it public. So if you can find it, let us know, because That would be so much easier than posting the link. Okay, so that was a good job, Vicki. Awesome for you. Awesome job. And for hubby and son for helping out. Sherry has moved to another state, and she's not gotten out to meet very many people. She's only met 2 of her neighbors so far, and she reflected and realized that's not me. That is not Sherry to not get out and meet people. So she's rearranging her plans, and she's going to retry, connecting with some people in the neighborhood by walking around her neighborhood. That'll also get some steps in, and she's going to hand out flyers for her business so she can get to know some folks. So she will do this. She has bridged that gap. So she'll make some friends, and she'll get some steps in the process. So good job, Sherry. And then Marlene wants to meal prep this week, but she reflected on what she's done in the past and realized she's got a lot of things in her freezer that need to be used up. So it is a will do. So Sherry's going to bridge that gap from wanting to meal prep to meal prepping, and an incidental bonus, clean out some of the stuff from the freezer. So awesome job on doing your homework, guys. Here are your Bravo stickers for your extra homework. Good job, everybody. Everybody should do their homework every week. This week, though, we are talking about, I'm going to give you the trick question first that Gwen gave us. So Tuesday, this is chat number 376, I think. Yep, 376. And before I remind you what the title of this week's chat is, Gwen started our in-person workshop this last week with a trick question. I think it was a trick question. So let's see if you've been paying attention to your Weight Watchers app or to Connect this week, and see if you can answer this question any better than we did. So what she said is, we're going to talk this week about building and retaining muscle. So what do you think we're talking about? If we're talking about building and retaining muscle, what do you think we'll be chatting about? I'll just give you all a couple of seconds to answer that while I get a quick sip of water. So what does building and retaining muscle, what does that make you think that the topic is? What does that make you think that we're going to talk about? Because I can tell you what I guessed. Vicki. All right. So you all have been paying attention. So we were saying things like working out, strength training, stuff like that. So for you smarty pants, let's see. Okay, that's okay, Carol Lou. We'll figure it out. So for you smarty pants people who just said food, protein, whatever, you can just sit over there and be quiet for just a second while the rest of us catch up. I'm just kidding. As it turns out, there are 3 things that we need to be consuming, that we should be consuming on an intentional basis, like actually paying attention to it to help keep up lean muscle while we lose weight. So it's great to lose weight, but if you lose muscle too, not so great. So we just want to lose fat. We don't want to lose any muscle. So what are those 3 things you say, except for the people who just answered the question because they were actually paying attention this week? Here are the 3 things. Protein power. A bunch of you all already said protein. So protein power, it's no surprise that protein tops this list. It is like the top thing at this list. Many of you, Debbie, Catherine, Lynn, Marianne, Sarah, Vicki, a lot of you all, protein. So it's no surprise that protein tops that list, okay? And everybody knows that eggs, lean meats, cheese, those are all great sources of protein, but there are some surprising places to pack in protein, some protein power. Here are just 3. There are lots of others, but here are 3 surprising places. The first one is artichoke hearts. Did you know that a cup of artichoke hearts, it's 0 points, but it's 4 grams of protein? What a nice addition to a salad or to some pasta or something else. Artichoke hearts. Who knew? A cup of artichoke hearts, 0 points, but 4 grams of protein. The next one is lentils. I try to add lentils as often as I can think of it to soups and things in the winter, because a half of a cup of this tasty legume offers 9 grams of protein. That is pretty awesome. And surprise, yogurt. That was one that I guessed immediately. A great source of protein on its own, but if you make it a Greek style yogurt, it can be up to 20 grams of protein. Up to 20 just by making it Greek yogurt. And yes, Vicki, you're exactly right. garbanzo beans. Vicky says garbanzo beans, nuts. Those are great sources of protein. There are lots of surprising ways to get protein. And since my mom was vegan, I had to. And you're exactly right, Sarah. Cottage cheese is a great source of protein that I will never know. I will never be taking advantage of that, so I'll just have to find these other things. But since my mom was vegan, we had to pay close attention to other areas to get protein. These are some great ones. The next thing is you've got to cash in with some calcium, okay? Calcium is not anything that I really think about getting. So, it just happens. You just get calcium, and I think, well, I like to drink skim milk. I'm getting some calcium there. Not so much, okay? Calcium is another thing that we need to intentionally, and no, Vicky, I'm just gonna stop for a second. So Vicky's trying to be helpful, and she says, try whipping cottage cheese and adding taco seasoning for a dip. No ma'am, no thank you. You all enjoy it as much as you want to. I have done all the cottage cheese and eggs, barf. I have done cottage cheese blended like that with ranch seasoning. No thank you. I have done cottage cheese in lasagna. No, not so much. So yeah, no thank you. Y'all can enjoy all the cottage cheese recipes you want to. Keep sharing them because other people on here love cottage cheese, and I buy cottage cheese for John every week. I'm not eating it. Okay, so I'll just say I'm lactose intolerant. I'm kidding. Okay, so cashing in with some calcium. That's not one of those things. Calcium is not one of those things that I think, oh, did I get my calcium today? I pay a lot of attention to protein. I don't think so much about calcium. I don't know about you all, but did you know that we need calcium for our muscles to move? So you kind of need these. We're talking about protecting them, protecting our muscles, not losing lean muscle mass as we're losing weight. But did you know that you need calcium for your muscles to move and for nerves to carry messages between your brain and every part of your body? All of them. Yeah. So to carry messages from your brain to every part of your body, you need calcium. So sure, milk has calcium, but where else can we get it? Where are some other places that we can get it? Broccoli. I happen to love broccoli. Broccoli, just 1 cup of chopped broccoli has 43 milligrams of calcium. Fantastic. Bring it on. I'll eat all the broccoli you want me to, just not with cottage cheese. Even cottage cheese is a dip. Another great place to get calcium, any guesses? Yogurt again. Yogurt makes the list again. It already made the protein list. Now it makes the calcium list with a whopping 448 milligrams per 1 cup of yogurt. 448. Insanity, okay? So yogurt's on the protein list, and it is high on the calcium list. Then the last thing, and my mom ate a lot of these, and my friend Karen, who tries to eat vegetarian most days, leafy greens. So things like kale, bok choy, collard greens, they can have as much to from 60 to 250 milligrams of calcium, and leafy greens, dark leafy greens, are considered a more bioavailable source of calcium than milk. So, I love milk, and I'm not going to quit drinking my dairy milk, but leafy greens, especially dark leafy greens like the kale and the collards, the calcium is more bioavailable, which means it's easier for your body to absorb, and your body can use more of it, even more of it than milk. And that was an eye-opener for me because, number one, I don't think about, oh, did I get some calcium today? But now I will. And I sure don't think about, oh, did I get some calcium today from something besides milk? Okay, the third one is vitamin D, and a couple of you all guessed that earlier, or you've just been paying attention. So give me a D. D. Yeah, we're going to cheer on some vitamin D. Another thing that I've never really thought about, am I getting enough vitamin D every day? And I sure don't want to take a supplement if I don't have to. So if you're like me, when you hear vitamin D, you think sunlight, because your body can produce its own vitamin D if you're out in the sun, and from fortified foods. That's really the only way that I thought you could get vitamin D, was to either make it yourself via sunlight, or to eat fortified foods, things that are fortified, or it's not called enhanced. Let's see, what would it be? I guess fortified would be the right word, with vitamin D. So But sometimes using solar power to create this critical vitamin in your own body, sometimes that's not an option, okay? So let's say, oh, Carol Lou made lots of vitamin D today while she was out in the sun. So sometimes, like Karen doesn't need to spend as much time out in the sun because she's got a couple of spots coming up that her dermatologist is really unhappy about. She doesn't need to spend a lot of time out in the sun. Some of us can't tolerate the sun. Some of us don't live in areas where there's a lot of sun. So, you know, letting your body make its own vitamin D with the sun is not always, an easy way to do it. It's not always an option, but it is a critical vitamin for your body to have. So then what? What do? Salmon or tuna? Never thought about that. According to Business Insider, a 75 gram or 2.5 ounce serving of sockeye salmon contains between 394 to 636 international units of this vitamin, depending on whether it's canned, cooked, or raw, according to Dietitians of Canada. And since salmon contains omega-3 fatty acids, it also helps to lower triglyceride levels. What a fun way to get vitamin D. That is an absolutely fun way. So maybe I could lay out in the sun and eat some tuna or some sockeye salmon. That would be fantastic. And let's see, Debbie says calcium bok choy is easy to grow. I love bok choy, and maybe I should try growing some. Yeah, because I'm changing out the garden, so bok choy would be a good one since it's gonna hopefully start getting cooler here soon. Okay, next one. Oh man, and Vicky's allergic to seafood. Vicky, there are other ways to get vitamin D. We'll find you some other ways besides salmon or tuna. Next, mushrooms. I didn't know mushrooms already have vitamin D, but when they are exposed to or grown in ultraviolet light, when they're exposed to ultraviolet light, grown in the sunshine, or exposed to ultraviolet light, wow, that's hard to say. Did you know that when they are exposed to UV, there we go, when mushrooms are exposed to UV, they are the only vegetable that can actually produce vitamin B. Weird. So are we mushrooms? Because if we're exposed to UV, we can make vitamin D, and mushrooms are the only vegetable that can do the same thing. Interesting. That was interesting information for me. And you guessed it, yogurt. Yogurt again. Are you surprised? So I'm starting to think that we need to include yogurt somehow, some way in our daily routine. Also a great way to get vitamin D. So your homework for this week is hashtag feed your muscles. So we all, whether we're still trying to lose weight, trying to lose more weight, whether we're trying to stay fit, whatever we're trying to do, we need to hold on to the lean muscle that we already have. And if you're getting older like me, that gets harder and harder every year and I got to hold on to as much, muscle as I can. So your homework for this week is to feed your muscles. Feed them. So FEEDYOURMUSCLES, hashtag feed your muscles. This week you get to eat for your homework. How awesome is that you get to actually eat for your homework? Thank you, Lynn, for posting the homework. So all you have to do is put together just a simple meal. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but a simple meal that contains some protein. And it can be from something normal. It can be from something normal like lean meat or an egg or cottage cheese or something like that. You don't have to do one of these unusual things. So a meal that has protein. It also needs to have calcium from somewhere. And you need to sneak in some vitamin D. So that meal needs to have protein, calcium, and vitamin D. That's all you have to do for your homework. You just have to tell us what you ate. How easy is that you're going to eat for your homework? So feed your muscles, feed your muscles, feed your muscles. Hashtag feed your muscles. That is your homework for this week. Okay, in case you are new and didn't know, this is the halfway point of a 1 hour long chat. So we always do, in the first half, we do classroom from whatever the topic was from Sandra, you're exactly right, from the prior week for Weight Watchers. The second half is usually something fun or we make some food. Today we're going to do a little bit of both. And we're going to use our homework. We're going to use our homework from this week to make something in the second half. But first, this is the only time all week, like Sandra just reminded us, this is the only time all week that I know that you got a drink of water. So everybody stop and get a drink of water here at the halfway point. And Karen and I walked a lot in the heat. I don't know if y'all can see the heat hair. Whoo! Woo! Wasn't 100 and whatever today. Ooh, Carol Lou is drinking her raspberry Southern Breeze tea. I love it. I love it. I love it. And Anne, thank you so much for being my original dealer. The Southern Breeze tea is on the Amazon list, and I will post that. I'll post a link to that again because y'all are like killing it with the tea. Okay, everybody get a drink of water. Ooh, and Barbara sent a recipe about something to make with chickpeas, and she got the ingredients to make it. So please let us know how that turned out. Yeah, and Anne's got her little, she just posted a little pot of tea emoji. I'm telling you, she was my original dealer. And the girls here were laughing when I was like, yeah, my tea dealer, you know, my tea dealer Anne. They thought it was so funny, but she really was. She was my original tea dealer, and she was a popcorn dealer for a little bit too. And Vicki, hold on, let me look real quick. Vicki needs to know what it's sweetened with. Let's look real quick. I should know that off the top of my head, but it is pre-sweetened, 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, founded in Georgia, and it is like this watermelon. The watermelon flavor is black tea, hibiscus, natural flavor, malic acid, and sucralose. So it is sucralose is the sweetener in this one. Yum, yum, yum. Okay, let's get ready for the second half. We are going to make something yummy. I've never made this before, but I think it's going to be yummy based on, I have had every single one of these ingredients. Yeah, so I think it's going to be yummy. And Sarah, yeah, the tea is amazing, and Vicki, you're most welcome. So for those of you who, just while I'm putting my apron on to get ready for the second half, for those of you who have already bought the tea, and now I feel like a dealer. Great, Anne. So now I'm your sub dealer. What's your favorite flavor so far? So the girls here in the showroom, because I think I have like a 10 flavor assorted pack, they were asking me what my favorite flavor was so that they could order some, and I went, I don't know. I gotta think a minute because I love them all. So for those of you who have already ordered them, what do you think your favorite flavor is? Oh, it is, and it is multi-level marketing. You are so right. You are so right. Yeah, raspberry. Oh, Sylvia says raspberry. The raspberry is really good. The watermelon is so good. Marianne says peach. The peach is her favorite. They are all so good. Okay. This is the second half of chat number 376. Yeah, Melissa, watermelon. I know maybe it's because it's summer, but the watermelon is so good. It's so good. And I'm sorry, I'm going to get off the tea subject in a second, but I love that it's such a light, I don't know, it's just such a light flavor. It's not a heavy flavor, and it's just enough sweetener. Don't y'all think? Okay. So I could stand here and talk about tea all night, and I just told you a few minutes ago that I had 4 different things that I wanted to show you all desperately in the second half tonight, and I just had to pick one. So I'm going to move on. So this was chat number 376, and we were talking about meals that keep you strong. They're going to keep your muscles strong, and we're going to build a simple recipe. I'm going to be using things that I already, let's see, I had 1, 2, 3 of the things I think were things that were in the garden. Everything else is something that I either already had, so I didn't have to go buy anything, or it was something that was given to me, and I'll tell you as we go along. We're just going to build this together. This doesn't have a name. It's just going to be the what's it going to be? This is going to be the protein, calcium, vitamin D salad. I don't know what else to call it. The first thing that this salad is going to have in it is cucumbers. Okay. Cucumbers, because I have a gazillion of them now, my cucumber plants won't stop. They know that I will not pull them. I will not remove them from the garden as long as they have blooms on them, and they are covered in blooms again. So cucumbers have 0.8, so it's less than 1 gram, but they have 0.8 grams of protein. They do have 16 milligrams of calcium, and they have it's a negligible amount of vitamin D, so you can't count the vitamin D. I don't normally peel my cucumbers. I'm only peeling these for this little salad that we're making because two reasons. I thought it would make a prettier presentation. Also, I saw something online. I was watching a reel the other day while I was waiting on something. But I was watching a reel the other day, and there was a guy who I've become addicted to, and he was saying that if you put watermelon peels in a jar of water, see, I'm already sidetracking, but if you, watermelon, Melissa said watermelon, now I'm saying if you put cucumber peels in a jar of water and put it in the refrigerator for 4 days, that it is one of the best fertilizers that you can use. So bonus, here's a bonus to the tonight's chat, that you can make cucumber, apparently we're going to make cucumber vitamin water for the plants. Okay, and again, I thought that the peeled cucumber for what we're going to do might be a little bit better presentation, so I went ahead and peeled it. But you don't have to peel them. You can peel them if you want to. I don't normally, but again, presentation-wise, we're doing it. Okay, and I'm just going to cut the cucumbers into some pretty thick, maybe like a 1/2 inch. Yeah, Barbara says, save your seeds for next year. Some pretty thick slices. Also, if you don't like seeds, the seeds in your cucumbers, you can take the seeds out before you do this. I don't mind them. So I am going to go ahead and include those. And let's face it, this is mostly for me. So I'm going to be the person eating most of this. So I'm going to do some cucumbers. These are fresh from the garden. And again, the thing I enjoy the most probably about gardening, well, first of all, like last night when we brought this basket in, I kept showing John, I was like, we grew all this. Like we grew all this food. This is 14 pounds of food, and we grew this. And of course, John was like, no, you grew it. And I said, you made the raised beds. You helped me water on the days that I couldn't water. You've hauled you've hauled compost, you've hauled dirt. You've gone back to pick up more when I didn't have enough. We grew all this food. Okay, and this center of this one has a little bit extra seeds, so I'm just gonna take those out real quick. Okay, so some nice cucumbers. We're gonna add those in there. And again, I'm just gonna kind of cut them a little bit thick. And I promise we're almost done watching me slice these. So again, cucumbers, a serving of cucumbers, I think was like a cup. Oh, Karen says a farmer told her that taking out the seeds makes them burpless cucumbers. Good to know. That's actually good to know. So these will be less burpy because I took out some of the seeds. Okay, so cucumbers, it was 0.8 grams of protein, so not a ton, but still a little bit. Every little bit counts. 16 milligrams of calcium and a negligible amount of vitamin D. Next thing, I got to do something with these tomatoes. I have probably just for the last 2 days, I bet I have 100 grape tomatoes. So we're going to put some grape tomatoes in here. And again, I'm going to cut them, kind of chunky. I'm going to, cut them kind of chunky. They're grape tomatoes, so they're small anyway. So I'm going to cut them, actually I'm just going to cut them in half. Might cut them in little wedges, but to save time, might just cut them in half. And the tomatoes have 1 gram of protein. Did you know tomatoes have 1 gram of protein? So 1 gram of protein, 12 milligrams of calcium, and again, a negligible amount of vitamin D, but I promise we're going to get to the vitamin D here soon. So as you all are thinking about what you're going to do for your homework, has anybody already thought of the meal that they're going to make that's going to have protein, calcium, and vitamin D? And remember, it doesn't have to all be mixed together. It can be in 3 different things. It could be, yogurt and an egg, and let me think, what else could it be? Some fortified cereal or a fortified piece of toast or something like that. Okay, and we'll just do 2 more tomatoes so y'all just don't have to sit here and stare at me chopping tomatoes the whole time. Let's see. Okay, and 1 more tomato. just can't. Who else on here had a garden this year, or who else plants a garden? It was crazy. The garden was very, very happy with what you planted. Okay, the next thing, you all shouted this out about 15 times, chickpeas. Garbanzo beans, chickpeas, tons of protein, and a lot of calcium. This is a sneaky way to get some calcium in. So I'm just gonna use my Kitchen Mama can opener, and this thing is so cool. You just set it on the can and it's got a magnet in it, and then she's gonna do the rest. And I will post a link to the Kitchen Mama in the chat, but she is such an easy way to get a can open. And Carol says her garden's just starting to come in and she's got about 2 tomatoes so far. Well, mine went crazy, and I can't even tell you. The only thing I can tell you that we did differently, I'm trying to think. I think the tomato cages we got this year were green. So, and Sarah has a hard time stopping the can opener. That's weird. You actually just pushed the button again. So that's interesting. We can talk about that later. Okay, since I never did figure out how to use the juice from the chickpeas, the aquafaba, sadly, I'm just going to get rid of it. And I know some of you all right now are going, no, don't get rid of the aquafaba. Okay, so I'm going to put the whole can of drained chickpeas in here. And the chickpeas are 14.5 grams of protein. 14.5 grams of protein. And hold on, Sarah, maybe you should send me a video. I'll try again. She knows someone else that had the same issue. Maybe you should send me a video. Of you trying it so I can see what you're doing. Okay, so the chickpeas have 14.5 grams of protein. 14.5. 315 milligrams of calcium, and again, a negligible amount of vitamin D. But here's what we've got in here so far. So we've got cucumbers, tomatoes, chickpeas. That's what we've got in here so far. Okay, next, onions. Onions always taste good in a salad like this. This was gifted to me. So the cucumbers and the tomatoes came out of my garden. The chickpeas I already had because I always have cans of garbanzo beans or chickpeas on hand. The next ingredient, and remember we're making this up as we go along, is some Giuliano all-natural sweet red onions, strips marinated with lime, handcrafted family recipe. These, oh sorry, yeah, so Sarah said, is Alyssa starting school now? Yes, tomorrow. I forgot to circle back around to that. Real quick, Alyssa starts first grade tomorrow. She was very, very, like extremely upset that she could not come to the chat tonight to tell you all that she starts first grade tomorrow. And I was like, honey, the chat's not over with till 9 o'clock. You wouldn't be home until 9:30. You have to be up at 6 a.m. to go to school. I don't think that's going to work out. So I'll just tell her I told y'all, and y'all can just talk to her later. Okay. So maybe she'll come back for the Sunday night before Labor Day. Maybe we'll do that one. But anyway, this was gifted to us. This is again Giuliano all natural sweet red onions, handcrafted recipe. I do too. I was there. But these you have to eat quite a few of these for it to even be 1 point. But as you can see, we've eaten down to here. We had them on hot dogs the other night. I'm going to put the whole rest of this, including the juice. I'm going to let the juice from this be the kind of marinade. I'm going to let it sort of marinade or brine or whatever you want to call it, the whole rest of this salad. So onions, we're adding onions, and they are pickled red onions. Oh, they smell good. I love these. Love, love, love these. This is one of those things. These onions are one of those things that I would never try to make them. We'll just let the Giuliano family make them. They are so good. They are so fantastically good. So onions have 1.2 grams of protein. Who knew onions had protein? So they have 1.2 grams of protein. 25 milligrams of calcium, and womp womp, still a negligible amount of oh, Carolee, whatever. This is not a recipe. I'm just dumping stuff in a bowl. Trying to come up with something that has protein, calcium, and vitamin D in it because I want to do my homework. Because I want a homework sticker. Okay, so yeah, just do anything. You could do regular onions. You don't even have to do onions. But I'm trying to find something that has all three. Some combo of things that has all three. And honestly, some combo of things that I can eat for lunch every day this week too. So, and use up some of these dang cucumbers. There's so many of them. So many cucumbers and so many tomatoes. Okay, so the onions were 1.2 grams of protein, 25 milligrams of calcium, and a negligible amount of vitamin D. Next, though, the next two things are we're going to knock it home, okay? The next thing is feta cheese. So this is Athenos reduced fat feta cheese. This, with those onions, is going to be fantastic. Fantastic. This feta cheese is 5 grams of protein for a serving, 60 grams of calcium, still a negligible amount of vitamin D, but it has a little bit. So I'm not even going to measure this. I'm just going to put it in here. And I'm a big fan of feta cheese in anything. Anything. I think feta cheese just adds to every single thing. And this kind of has a little Mediterranean flair going on with the onions, with the cucumbers, with the tomatoes. Look at this color. So look at the color that we have going on in here. This would even be good if I wanted to come back and like add some zucchini or something that was, you know, was green and put it in there. It is smelling fantastic. That's got to be those red onions though. And here is the piece de resistance. Can y'all think of anything that's gonna knock it out of the park with that vitamin D? So far we have 0.8 grams of protein with cucumbers, 16 milligrams of calcium. Tomatoes were 1 gram of protein, 12 milligrams of calcium. Chickpeas are 14.5 grams of protein and 315 milligrams of calcium. Onions are 1.2 grams of protein and 25 milligrams of calcium. Feta cheese was 5 grams of protein and 60 grams of calcium, but we don't have any vitamin D yet. Do y'all remember? Do you remember what I said earlier in the chat? Can anybody remember anything from earlier in the chat that had vitamin D in it? Anything? Anything? Peppers? I don't know that peppers had any vitamin D. Oh, Sarah, I don't think this is going to get too soggy. So Sarah was worried about this getting too soggy. I don't think it's going to. I really don't think it's going to, because these were pickled peppers, so it's not just like putting water in there. This is actually, in my opinion, is going to actually brine it and make everything else sort of pickled. Okay, Anne says mushrooms. Yeah, if the mushrooms had been exposed to light, they could totally be what we're looking for. Okay, Debbie is all over it. I didn't get canned salmon. I did get chicken of the sea, Alaskan pink, wild caught Alaskan pink salmon, skinless and boneless, in spring water, because for one of these, Danielle, we'll talk after class. We'll talk about this Tuesday. Just kidding. So for one packet of this chicken of the sea, again, wild caught Alaskan pink salmon, I almost called it tuna. It is 15 grams of protein. It is 12 milligrams of calcium, but that's okay. We got lots of calcium in the rest of the stuff. But it is 10 micrograms of vitamin D, which is 50%. 50% of the recommended daily value is in this little pouch right here. And they were 10 for $10 today at Kroger. So people who live in Knoxville, 10 for $10. 10 for $10. And give me just a second. I forgot to grab a fork, because we're going to try this. So again, if you live in Knoxville, 10 for $10 at Kroger this week. 15 grams of protein, all those lovely micrograms of vitamin D, and it has a little bit of calcium in it. And Vicki says it needs salt and pepper. If you could taste these onions, I don't think it's going to. I'll see. I'll wait and see, and I'll let you know. But hold on just a second. We're going to put 2 pouches in here because this is going to be enough for more. This is enough for more than 1 meal. So let's go ahead and get a second packet of this in here. Again, 10 for $10. They also had tuna. They had water packed tuna. Oh gosh, what else did I get? Anyway, 10 for $10 at Kroger this week. So as of right now, we have cucumbers, tomatoes, chickpeas, onions, feta cheese, salmon. Ooh, Sylvia says we grilled a large piece of salmon after dinner. Ooh, her husband made a salmon salad. That sounds so good. Okay, let's get all of this mixed together. And sorry, since this tuna, quit calling it tuna, Kelly. Since this salmon was in a pouch, let me just get it good and flaky here before I mix all of this together. And it is smelling really, really good. Really good. Okay, let's get this all mixed together. And I can tell you, even, again, this is not really a recipe, okay? Look at that. This would be good with some corn in it, maybe, some peas. Ooh, but I didn't have peas. Some fresh garden peas. Wouldn't that have been yummy in here? Just something to give it, you know, a little bit of extra color. But I can tell you, because I used these pickled onions, everything in here is going to take on this pickled onion flavor. And this is going to be even better tomorrow and even better the next day. And I'm just going to put these in, I'm just going to put this in a glass jar and stick it in the refrigerator here at work. So this is all together, this is 27, well, not this whole thing, but per serving, and this is about maybe 4 servings, altogether 27.5 grams of protein, 440 milligrams of calcium, and 10 micrograms of vitamin D, which is 50% of your daily recommended allowance for vitamin D. Nailed it. I think I did my homework. So as soon as Casey gets our homework badges done, then I think I get credit for doing my homework. So I'm going to let this sit here for just a second, and then we're going to put some in a jar so I can show you what that is going to look like. Because having things in the refrigerator that are pretty, I don't know about you, but if it's pretty, I am way more likely to eat it. Melissa, this is maybe a point, like maybe. The salmon is 0 because it's just salmon. The chickpeas are 0. The cucumbers and tomatoes are 0. The onions, I think it's 1 point per serving. And the feta cheese, maybe. I mean, it might be 2 points, maybe. I will figure that out tomorrow after I see how much, you know, how many servings this ends up being. But I don't know about you, but if it's pretty, I'm much more likely to come back and eat it. So let's just see what this looks like, and then I promise I will try it for you all real quick. And if y'all don't have one of these canning funnels, you don't just have to use them for canning. You can also use them for cramming things in jars that weren't really supposed to go in a jar. So again, all of this was either something that came out of the garden, something that I already had, something that was gifted to me. Look how pretty that is. I did not have to spend an extra dime on this, and I will probably have 4 meals, but look how beautiful that is. And I will pour some of this brine in here before I put it in the refrigerator. But let me find my fork. And I want a bite of everything. Oh yeah. This is going to be a big bite because I'm going to bite of all of it. Mm-hmm. Oh, all that blended together. Sorry I took such a big bite, but this is really good. And with that pickled red onion, this is going to be even better tomorrow. This would be so good. Oh, and okay, so Carol Lou says she doesn't do fish. Carol, for next time, I've already been thinking about it. For next time, totally going to do, if you mix something like this together and had just the salad part of it, including the chickpeas, if you had that in jars or had that in some kind of a container in your refrigerator, then you could make something later, like some tofu. You could make some hard-boiled eggs, something like that. I just wouldn't add the tofu or the hard-boiled eggs, like, you know, in before you store it, because it seems like it would get a little icky, maybe a little mushy. But this is going to be crisp tomorrow. This is still going to be good because it's got the pickled onions in there. And again, you don't have to use the pickled onions. You can use, you know, whatever you want to. You could use some Olive Garden light Italian dressing. That would be really, really, really good in this. Actually, that would be really good in this. Might do that for next time. Okay, but I hope y'all enjoyed. Do your homework, do your homework, do your homework. Do you see how easy that was? I mean, I literally just came up with this like 2 hours before the chat and thought, yep, got that, got that, got that, got that, got that. Boom, done. We're ready. We're good to go. So do your homework this week. Make something good to eat. Make something fun to eat. Make something pretty to eat. If you're watching this on YouTube, I hope you will just let that next, I hope you'll let that next video roll over. And please go ahead and hit subscribe so that you will know, you know, when the next one comes up. Go ahead and click that little bell. And if you are joining us from IfYouHaveAnEgg.com, thank you very much. Go ahead and click on that Amazon list and see if there's something that you would like to get. But y'all have a great week. I can't wait to taste this tomorrow because I know those flavors are going to come together even more. It's going to be even better tomorrow. But y'all have a great evening, and I will see you next time. Good night.